Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Pastor Jennifer, and we want to welcome you to another episode of Meet Me in the Breakroom. And right now, we are having a special Boost Your Business segment. Usually every year in the fall at our church, we will have what we call Boost Your Business in our multi-purpose complex, and we will feature all of the businesses in our church. Just so everybody can know what each one does. And so this year, we're doing it a little bit differently, and we are going out in the field, business by business, just to showcase both to our church and community, different businesses within the community that are here to serve you. And so today I am here honored to be with Mr. Bill Hunt, who is a member of Jackson Revival Center Church, a very faithful member, serves in various capacities, and we are at All About You. This is a car lot here in Jackson, Mississippi. And so, Mr. Hunt, welcome to Meet Me in the Break Room.
Thank you so much.
We're so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
And if you will, just tell us a little bit about how did you get into the car business?
Well, my car business didn't start the conventional way.
Okay.
Typically, guys will work at a car lot and eventually veer off and kind of do their own thing.
Right.
Well, mine started a little different.
Okay.
I didn't work at a car lot. Didn't have any sales experience in cars, but I knew that there was a need.
Absolutely.
So I actually went and bought one car and sold it, and here we are 18 years later.
Look at God. See, this is going to help somebody today because the Bible says, despise not the day of small beginnings, because the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. And so you're letting us know that right now, how you start is not how you finish. And so you started with one car.
Yes.
And 18 years later, you've got a whole lot of cars. So how did you know the car business was for you?
Well, actually, I thought that it was actually for me. But as the name of the business indicates, it's not about me, it's all about you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I actually decided that not only could I be different, not only could I do something different, but I could put my ear to the public and listen to them and still give them a nice car without ripping them off.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, kind of what you're saying is that a car dealership is not necessarily, every car dealership is not necessarily one size fits all. That you kind of customize your business to fit the needs of the customer rather than just trying to force the customer into what you've already got going.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you will see none of my salesmen rush out to people. I made a vow that you would not see salesmen. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of people shop on Sundays, because nobody's there. They want to take their time. They don't want to be bombarded by fast-talking salesmen because let's just face it, car salesmen don't have the best reputation around town.
Right.
So that's why a lot of people take their time and they go on Sundays because they don't want to be bombarded. They want to just look and do their homework.
Right, right. So what sets All About You apart from a lot of the other dealerships?
Well, there are several things, but I think the main thing that's more beneficial to the customer is that we do short-term financing.
Okay.
A lot of times, let me explain what that is and the difference. A lot of times you'll go to a car lot and they will give you the terms of what you want. They will give you the monthly payment of what you want, but you'll be paying it for eternity.
Right.
The thing about that is we put your payment in your price range, and not only that, we keep it short. Right. So therefore, we're able to do short-term financing versus, good example, somebody will say, well, you know what? They may need a car. They give you, let you give them $1,000 down and maybe $275 a month, but you're paying it for eternity.
Right.
And you paid for actually two cars versus one with the interest and the long term.
Right.
The advantage of what we do is we let you go with a slight down payment, and we do buy here, pay here, which is done in-house, and we do what we call a simple interest contract, a flat interest rate, meaning every dime you give us goes straight to your bottom dollar.
Okay.
That's how we're able to do short-term financing.
And so those who buy here, pay here, that means you're doing in-house financing. What could cause a person to be disqualified from in-house financing?
Well, there are several things, but with us, we have to make sure that you hadn't had any bankruptcies or repos in the last 3 years.
Okay.
That you've at least been on your job at least a year, and that you have a certain amount of income, usually ranging at about $1,200 a month.
Right.
Net.
So that your income can support you being able to pay for the vehicle and other life expenses. One thing that you and I know, Minister Hunt, we've talked about it before. The car business is one of those businesses where people can really be taken advantage of if they don't know what to look for. And you've talked about some of those things. One is, so many times, let's say we've got a young man or a young lady and they're getting ready to purchase their first car. Let's kind of give them some things to look at, because so many times when they go at it, they're saying, I'll just need a car that's $250 a month. And so they're not looking at how long are they going to be paying that $250. Is the car worth what they're paying?
Right.
You know, because sometimes people go in to buy a car, maybe they're buying a used car, it's $10,000. But if it's financed at 20% interest or 21% interest, they're paying for that, like you said a while ago, 2 or 3 times over. Yes. They could have driven a much more expensive car for what they're paying for that $10,000 vehicle. So one thing that people need to learn to look at is interest rate. And so if they don't have credit right now, or they're building their credit, this is somebody that doesn't have a long negative credit history. Let's talk about how they can pursue a good interest rate. What is a good interest rate for someone who is making their first purchase and they're trying to build credit? What should they be looking for?
Well, one of the main things that they should be looking for, I'm going to allude back to what you said. What should they be looking for starting off? First, they need to do due diligence, do some homework, get some recommendations. And the second thing is, if they have maybe a family mechanic or somebody that knows anything about cars, then they need to probably take them along. And if a dealer don't want you to check their car out, obviously there's something to hide.
Right.
Don't shop there.
Right.
Okay, we allow our customers to have whoever it is that they want looked at them. They can even go take it to the dealership if they would, if they want to. But the one thing that they want to do is make sure that the car is worth what they're getting. And if you don't know how to do a lot of math, if you wasn't a math scholar, you can always still say, allow that salesman to tell you how much your monthly payment is, how long you're going to be paying for it. If he says 5 years at $275, well, it takes no rocket scientist to figure out what your bottom dollar is. So you just have to be careful and look for that lingua. But the other thing is looking for in an interest rate is you don't want to get over 10%.
Right.
You don't want to get over 10%. Sometimes people fall in circumstances that, maybe they've gone through maybe a bankruptcy or something in the past, or maybe, circumstances happen where their credit is not the best. Well, if you're not in dire need, I suggest that maybe you should get something cash. Right. Until you can actually afford to pay, and don't allow somebody to come and tell you what they can assign you to. Right. You go in, and since you got to pay for it, you might as well like it and get what you want. That's right. And that's another reason why we pride ourselves in never assigning people to cars. Or my salesman say, hey, look, that shady deal. Hey, look, yeah, you saw that on TV. You don't qualify for this, but I got something over here in the corner for you. We don't do that. Right. We don't do that. So if you can't get anything, or if you don't have anything where you got it saved up, cash or whatever, then you just have to go for an interest rate that's under 10%. Yes. And of course, if you've got good credit and you've been working, sometimes you can get 1% interest, 2% interest, things of that nature. Now, I know when we were talking earlier,
you were also talking about how you try to do in-house financing where the majority of what people are paying are going toward their principal. And so let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, we do what we call a flat interest rate, meaning at the end, but the day you walk out of here, you're going to know exactly what you're paying for that car.
Right.
From that first day until the very last payment. And our receipts will have on them the amount, on every receipt, you're going to have the amount that you started with.
Right.
The amount that you have paid in the past, the amount that you're paying that day, and your end result being your sum.
Right.
So that means that if you have 10 receipts and you know you're paying $275 or $300, if you're paying $300 a month, that means if you have 10 receipts, that means you paid $3,000. So that means that if you started here with a balance of $10,000, your balance should be $7,000.
Right.
And that's what you do, a flat interest rate. And that's one of the reasons we're able to do the short-term finance.
Right. And that's something that other people have to look out for when they're going to other dealerships. Make sure it's a fixed interest rate, that it's not a variable interest rate, because that's how people get sucked into paying astronomical amounts of money for cars that many times they're still paying for and can't even drive it. So let's talk about that. Sometimes people get deals that call them to be what we call upside down in a car. Okay. So when somebody's upside down, that means they owe more than the car is actually worth. So let's talk about how somebody can do research to make sure when they drive off the lot, they're not upside down in that vehicle.
Okay. Of course, with anything, any car, they do depreciate when you pull off the lot. So you have to be mindful of that. Right. Okay. So the one thing that you want to make sure of is every month that car depreciates. You want to know, and they got it calculated to where it's supposed to depreciate monthly. So you want to make sure that you're not owing more than what your car's worth should you have an accident or should you go in and pay it off. Right. Okay, so a way to do that is you're going to check your Kelley Blue Book. Okay. Check your Kelley Blue Book and see not what they're selling it to you for, but what you'll wind up paying when it's done. Right, and what the car is actually worth at the time of purchase, based on year, model, based on the features on the car and those kinds of things, number of miles. That's another thing we need to talk about, because sometimes people go and they purchase cars and the car may have 200,000 miles on it. Well, we know that nothing is made to last forever. And so if you're purchasing a car and that engine has 200,000 miles on it, chances are it doesn't have a whole lot of life left in that car. So let's talk about things. Let's pretend today we're talking to first-time buyers. Okay, in addition to knowing that they're getting a good interest rate, in addition to checking that Kelley Blue Book to make sure the car is actually worth what they're paying, what else do they need to look at as far as the tires on the car, the make and model of the car, to see what the average lifespan of that vehicle may be? What are just some things, if you were advising your son or advising your daughter, what are you telling them to look for? The very first thing I do, and I don't apply it only to cars, this is what I do. The very first thing you do is, if you don't know what, I get a lot of people, and I'm not going to name a car specific because I don't want people to say, well, these cars are. So what I do is, don't take my word for it. Don't take the next salesman word for it. What you do is just, and we all got it on our phones, just Google the reviews for the previous owners for that particular car. If you like a Chevrolet Silverado truck, Google the reviews of not what the makers are saying about it. Google the reviews of what the owners are saying about it, and that's the most valuable information that I give to my buyers. Hey, look, Google not just what I say, not just what your uncle say, or how that car was 10 years. Go in, look at that make and model, Google the reviews on it, and see what the current owners are saying about that car. If all of them say that I've had problems with my engine, I've had problems with my engine, I've had problems with my engine, what you probably want to do is steer away from that particular vehicle. Or if you know that that particular vehicle is bad with brakes, if it's something that you can possibly eat up or something that you could possibly deal with, that's one thing. But you're not taking people's word for it that's trying to sell it or make a profit off. You're taking people's word for it that actually own it.
Very good. So what are some other things? Because I've seen people sometimes go to dealerships that maybe weren't well known, maybe not owned by reputable people such as yourself, where the tires were bald, they already had threads coming out of them. So let's talk about some things like that they need to know. How do they know if that's a good tire or a bad tire, those kinds of things?
I think the other thing that most valuable information that they need to do, whether they buy a car here or wherever, don't let them, what they say means absolutely nothing.
Right.
What you need to do, the main thing is check on the warranty. Check on the warranty on it, and if you can get an extended warranty. Maybe you do want it, maybe you don't, but check on the warranty, not what they say. Tell them to show you in writing where that, if they tell you your engine and transmission is warranted for 90 days or a year, tell them to show it to you in writing, because what they say means absolutely nothing.
Right.
The other thing is, if you're not exactly sure, if you're looking at, and some people buy in, they just need a car right then.
True.
But ask the dealers, hey, look, a lot of times dealers will tell you, hey, look, I don't want to lose this deal, because if all you want is some tires, I can buy you some tires. A lot of times, and you just ask that dealer the things that they will do to keep,
close the deal.
To close the deal. And don't go there and give them exactly what they want for the car.
Right.
Try to negotiate. Sometimes they'll come off of it. Depends on the demand for the car. Sometimes they'll come off of it. Sometimes they won't.
Right.
So what you need to do is, what I tell people, I understand that people want the most car for the least amount of money.
Absolutely.
And so what we do is we try to do just that. We give them the most amount of car for something that's within their means and something that's going to last.
Right. Very good. I think you've given some very good information. I always say, never leave without car mats for your car. Get them to throw in as much as you can possibly get them to throw in for you, because they need to sell it more than you need to buy it 9 times out of 10. But also, I tell people, don't settle. If you really have something in mind and that's what you want, don't settle, because if you settle, you're not going to be happy paying for what you did not want. It's a lot easier to make that payment every month if you're driving what you want and you're enjoying what you're driving. And so sometimes that may mean waiting a little bit longer. It may mean saving a little more money. It may be getting a second job to have more income. But you want to make sure that it's a win-win situation, that you're happy about paying for what you're paying for. So let's say somebody says, I need a truck. I know that there have been times for us, for different reasons, we needed a truck. And so I didn't necessarily need to spend a lot of money. I just needed the truck to be able to haul things from point A to point B. So if somebody has a specific need and they come to you and you don't have what they want on the lot, are you able to look for vehicles? And we understand you may not be able to do it overnight, but typically if a person said, hey, I need a pickup truck, and if I have it within the next 2 months, I should be good. Are you able to kind of help them find what they're looking for?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
If you don't see what you want on our lot, and first let me back up a little. Back to what you were saying. If you gotta pay for it, you might as well like it.
Absolutely.
I mean, not like it because you're paying for it, but like it because you picked it out.
Right.
So I think again, not to be redundant, but we teach ourselves not to throw stuff on people. Oftentimes I see people come in, and this is the main line. I just want a car to make it from point A to point B. Really, they're tired. A lot of times they're settling. And so what we try to do is, since you got to pay for it here, we got a variety of them: SUVs, cash cars, newer cars. And if there's something out there that you have in mind, what we do is we'll go get it. We'll go find it, and of course that will require a deposit.
Right.
If we go get that vehicle specifically for you. Now, if in the middle of that time, this is our policy.
Sure.
In the middle of looking for it, you decide that you want to save a little more money or you don't want that kind of car, then you get every dime of your money back.
Okay.
It's refundable, 100% refundable. Now, if we buy that car for you and we give you the specifics of it and we find it, say we find it in Georgia and we get it shipped here and you put down a small deposit, well, when you get here and you decide, well, I changed my mind, I don't really want a car, well, that part is non-refundable.
Gotcha. Because you sent a truck to go and pick that up and they incurred expenses going to get it and bring it back. You got to pay for a driver, all of those things. So
correct.
We get that. So you're saying though, but if they put money down, you're looking for what they want and then they change their mind, you haven't picked it up yet.
That's right.
They can get that money
back. They get every penny of what they gave us back.
Gotcha. So if I'm hearing you correctly, Brother Hunt, you really do try to make this car buying experience all about the customer, making sure they get the right vehicle to fit their budget, something that's going to serve them well, something that they can easily afford, and something that's going to be a blessing to them both now and in the future.
Yes, that's exactly what we aim to do. And over the years, God has blessed where we have done this. 88.5% of our customers are repeats and referrals.
Wow.
And I think that's worked really, really, really well for us.
Yeah.
That has caused us to really grow and expand. We've outgrown 2 buildings. I don't know if we outgrow these because we got 15 offices in here, but who knows?
Yeah. And you've got great space, great vehicles on the lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
This small story, I'll let you finish. But I was actually going to to get a name for this business.
Okay.
And I was headed there, and God had told me I wanted to put it in my name.
Gotcha.
And God had told me, hey, look, it's not about you. Wow. And true story, honestly, I sped up so I wouldn't hear it. And as I'm getting closer to the place, as I got out of the car, God said, if I give you that business, it's not going to be about you.
Right.
So that's how we came up with the name, All About You. It's not about us.
Yeah, it's about the customer.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's about the customer.
Absolutely. Well, I think it is a true testimony of the faithfulness of God. Just to see how God has blessed you, how God has blessed your family. You are a kingdom man. You believe in serving the body of Christ, and your character is impeccable. Your reputation, without question. And I know many people within our church family who have come to you, who have been very pleased with the vehicle. They got good vehicles. Their vehicles didn't break down on them.
Right.
You know, they were pleased with the customer service. Right. And I can say that's one of the things when I got here, I was warmly greeted. I wasn't overpowered. Someone got the door for me. I mean, I felt like a customer, even though I was here, you know, on business, but great customer service, great atmosphere, warm and friendly, safe environment. So I'm encouraging people, if you're looking for a vehicle for you, if you're looking for a vehicle for your son, for your daughter, for your spouse, consider All About You. Mr. Hunt and his staff are here to serve you. Is there anything else that I've left out that maybe you just want to mention for those who are watching today?
Yes. One thing is the story I mentioned about this business. It's not about me.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss. People see my face, hear my voice because I'm boisterous. But for the most part, without this business is family owned.
Yes.
The passing of my brother that was here, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. He had my back. A few months ago, he passed. And his son has stepped right in to kind of help do his part. I have my wife here, my dad, my sons. They work tirelessly. Really, this business is not about me. It's about other people. They really see me, see my face, but the truth of the matter is they are the wind beneath my wings. They actually they're the motor that makes this business run.
Yeah.
I may make decisions or this, that, and the third, but truly they're the motor that without them, there's no me, there's no business. And we want to keep our environment family friendly.
Yes.
When you're looking for a car, we understand that it can be a stressful ordeal.
Yes.
And what we try to do is try to ease the stress. We put honesty and integrity into every vehicle. We try to make, even though we get cars from the auction, we don't put them right on the lot.
Right.
We go through them, we detail them, we send them to the mechanic shop, and we make sure that they are stuff that we would drive.
Right.
That my wife would drive, that my kids would drive.
Yes.
So therefore, we're grateful to God for what he's doing and what he has done in the past. Yes. But really and truly, it's not about me. It's about my family has created an environment, a business that has really helped the community. And I'm just blessed to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, look, I want to thank you for sharing this time with us today. I think you've given people some great information, great considerations for those who are getting ready to purchase. And I believe you're going to see quite a few people pulling up on the lot looking to purchase their next vehicle. So I appreciate you sharing this time with us today, Mr. Hunt. And thank you for joining us today for another episode of Meet Me in the Break Room. And again, if you're looking for a vehicle for yourself, for your spouse, your son, or your daughter, consider All About You. We're going to put the location there at the bottom of your screen. We want to thank you for taking time to join with us, and we ask you to hit us back next week, same time, same station. Until then, y'all make today a great day.